Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game. They're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello. Welcome in. It's the Ben Bosscher Show. We are live here on a Monday here on 100.9 The Mitt. Lot to discuss today. A few weeks out from week one of college football. An additional week out from the NFL. We're getting closer and closer to football being 100% back. But we still got a little bit of football to get to later on. ESPN put out their futures power rankings.
What?
Where do the Lions stack up amongst that in terms of the futures of every single franchise? You're going to like the answer to it. We'll get to that in the 10 o'clock hour. Let's start here with the Detroit Tigers, though. Where are they, Kyle? Because they 100% disappeared this weekend in what was the biggest series of the week, the biggest series of the entire season, really. The Tigers were unfortunately nowhere to be found, just as they claimed that final wild card spot and got themselves into a position where they were in the playoffs. That was how the Cleveland series ended. Phew, Houdini. They're completely gone this weekend against the Sox. They get swept. Here's the most disappointing part. It's not just they were losing. It's the fact that their big three, their star players, were nowhere to be found. Riley Green on the IL. And look, man, Riley Green has really shaken the narrative that he is an injury-prone player. He has stayed healthy for the better part of the last two seasons. But look at this. Just when the Tigers need him the most, just when the Tigers season is on the line, Riley Green is on the IL with a hamstring injury, not contributing. Well, that's okay. The Tigers have an MVP candidate on their team, right? Dylan Dingler. He's been great all season long. 1 for 13 against the White Sox. Oh, that's okay. They've got the Rookie of the Year. Kevin McGonigal went 1 for 11 against the White Sox. Like that's the most disappointing part about this weekend. It's the fact that the guys that you have really relied upon all season long, the main reasons that you are in the position that you are in, which, like, look, it's not like the season's over. We're not going to sit here and pound our fists and say, well, that's it, throw in the towel. No, we've been fighting for 3 years to get into a playoff spot in the last week of the season. It always comes down to the last week of the season. There hasn't been a season over the last 3 years in which they have punched their ticket in early. It's going to come down to the final stretch, and they're still going to have a chance at making the playoffs. Now, getting swept by the White Sox really hurts your chances to win the AL Central now that you're 5.5 games back, but you're still only 1 game out from that final wild card spot. Look, you'll have a chance to bounce back over the next 35 days or so, but that was such a gut punch for everyone to disappear when you needed them most. Between Riley Green, Kevin McGonigal, Dylan Dingler, I wouldn't say there was any standout pitching performance either over the weekend from the bullpen or the starters that ended up taking the mound. Job got lit up. Melton was fine, but it wasn't like one of his stellar outings. And then yesterday, Drew Anderson and most of the bullpen they can't get it done. Gave up 20 runs over the weekend. It's not going to cut it. Like, it's not like the Tigers' offense was bad. They gave up 20 runs in 3 games. You're not going to win a ton of games if that's the case, and you're certainly not going to win the series. Tigers didn't even pick up 1 win. And unfortunately, McGonigal, Dingler, and Green, who's on IL, just 2 combined hits for the 3 of them combined. Dingler and McGonigal combined to go 2 for 24. The second we put Dylan Dingler in MVP discussions, dude regressed. Deer in headlights. Moment too big for him. Second, they get into the most important series of the entire year, whether it was against Cleveland or the White Sox for that matter, disappeared. And looking back, it's honestly a miracle that they won that Cleveland series too, shout out Torkelson because he's probably the biggest reason why they won that series. But again, Riley didn't play in that for the most part. McGonigal was and then Dingler can't get a hit. Dingler can't get on base. He ended up getting a hit yesterday. Cool, it was his second hit in 29 games. Going to need to be a little bit better than that. And I hear these people, whether it's, other shows on our air or on different airwaves, it's like, oh, what about Skubal? We should have Skubal on our team right now. Why are we talking about Skubal still? Who cares about Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize? The guys that are currently on the team are disappearing. Don't we think that is a bigger issue to tackle rather than talk about the guys that are playing across the country right now? I'm failing to understand that. Scott Harris should have kept these guys. Who cares? It doesn't matter if Riley Green and Kevin McGonigal and Dingler, are just gone. None of them. They could have kept Skubal. They could have traded him. Doesn't matter. The three guys that are actively on the team are not playing well. That's going to need to change if this team is going to climb back into a playoff spot right now. Look, they've got some time to figure it out. But if Dingler keeps playing like this, 2 for 29, if McGonigal, it's the first real cold stretch of Dylan Dingler's season. If McGonigal keeps playing like this, 1 for 11 against the White Sox, this team's going to be out of this race before they even realized what position they were in when they were holding on to it. It's like they got a hold of it, and not only did it lose grip from their hands, they fell back. They tripped down. Now they have to stand back up and jump back into the playoff race. They've got time to do it, but they can't keep slipping. They can't all of a sudden lose 4 in a row, 5 in a row. It's too late in the season for cold slumps. And unfortunately, 2 of the Tigers' very best players are having a cold slump. And the other guy is on IL. This needs to change now. They do not have time to mess around. They do not have time to fall further back in the standings than they already have by getting swept to the White Sox. The time to turn around is now. They've got Pittsburgh. They've got Kansas City coming up the next 2 series. I'm not deeming every single one of these a must-win. Feels a little premature. But Kyle, they can't really afford to continue this losing streak. We said this from the very jump. Because of the month you had in May, you do not get to have another cold stretch over the season. If the Tigers want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to forget about what happened this weekend, and everyone's going to have to right the ship a little bit. So forgive me for getting a little upset there. I'm really sick of hearing about Tarek Skubal and what he's doing in LA. I don't care. The guys on the team right now are letting us down. That was a huge letdown what happened over the weekend. You had a chance to go be in the driver's seat for not just a playoff spot, but the entire division. You got swept and gave up 20 runs, and all 3 of your best players from this season vanished. I don't want to talk about Tarek Skubal. I want to talk about these 3 guys.
Yeah, happy Monday morning to you, Ben.
Good morning, Kyle.
Can you
it's
remember?
Still 77 degrees in here, by the way.
It's ridiculous. Ben was talking about taking his shirt off. I mean, he's usually anti-take your shirt off, but maybe the Tigers need it for some sort of rally right now. Look, do you know the last time the Tigers were swept?
Ooh. June?
It goes all the way back to May, and it was against the very Chicago White Sox. All 3 series between the White Sox and Tigers this year have resulted in a sweep.
Yeah.
Twice the White Sox have swept the Tigers, and then when the Tigers hosted Chicago, they swept them. So
you're going to get one more crack at them later on in the season.
Yeah, and that's the part about this. Like, the Tigers season isn't over or anything. It's just unfortunate coming off of the series against Cleveland where you went into the weekend riding such a high. OMG, we finally beat Cleveland, the team that we hadn't beat in a single game yet this year. The Tigers, and the reason I bring up the last time they were swept is they haven't been swept since May. Like, this has been a good team. They've won more series than they've lost since the start of June. No sweeps. They haven't gotten swept by anybody. They've swept several teams. Like, it's been a very long time in terms of a baseball season that the Tigers have been this low, as you want to call it, losing 3 games in a row. Mm-hmm. And it felt like they were going to salvage yesterday, too. It felt like they were going to pull out that win, and then out of nowhere, boom, big-time inning. Murakami, Miguel Vargas, both of those guys just killed the Tigers this weekend. And now that they have been swept, it's like, man, you went into this weekend with such a primetime spot. It got off to the right start, and you have dug yourself a hole once again. Like, their playoff percentage odds, I know whatever place you want to look at, but just looking at the standings right now, have dropped all the way to 18%. Just based off of where they were at going into the weekend, a.k.a. in a wild card spot, in the playoffs, and then, what were they, 1.5 games back of the division going into the weekend?
2.5 going in.
2.5, yeah. 2.5 going in, so a chance to be a half game out or even in the lead if you won or swept. Next thing you know, you're 5.5 games out of the division. It feels very unlikely at this point, and anything can still happen, but you're going to need some major help to win the division at this point. And while you're at it, 3 more teams passed you in the wild card race. So you have rejoined the just glump of random teams that are all 4 games below 500 that are fighting for that final wild card spot. We are in for a month and a half of baseball here where we are going to be
stressed.
Very stressful. Whereas this weekend, it was going to be stressful either way, but it would have felt a lot better to have that playoff percentage odds look like 40% coming into today.
Yeah, it'd also be awesome if this weekend either Kevin McGonigal or Dylan Dingler showed up in any way. Because that could have been a huge game changer, and both those guys, gone.
Well, and that was the other thing I was going to bring up is I brought up the stat last week, and it's obvious. When your best players play good, your team's going to win more often than not. But as mentioned with Dylan Dingler, an 1,100 OPS in games the Tigers have won this year. They're basically 500. Like, Dylan Dingler's played in 54 games and wins, 61 games and losses. So it's pretty even splits here. 1,100 OPS in wins, a 560 OPS now in losses. Kevin McGonigals are the same way. And you look at some of these other guys on the team, a guy like Torkelson, a guy like Riley Green, they are not this split in difference. That's why, the WAR stat for McGonigal and Dingler is so big. Kevin McGonigal in wins this year, a 940 OPS, a 680 in losses. Basically right down the middle as far as games played and at-bats. Like, these are very even splits, but they are drastically different numbers. Those two, when they don't perform, you get swept. It's that simple. They're your best 2 guys, and coming into the season, we didn't expect to have that expectation on them at this point, but it has gotten to that point. We need to get better results from those 2 guys if the Tigers want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, there's also 2 ways to look at this. Oh, you can't dump on Dylan Dingler and Kevin McGonigal. They've had phenomenal seasons. One of them's going to win Rookie of the Year, and one of them's going to finish as a top 5 MVP guy. That's all the more reason to be disappointed that they disappeared in the biggest moment. They have had phenomenal seasons. Kevin McGonigal could lead the American League in WAR amongst position players, which has never been done by a true rookie. So, of course, they've had great seasons. Dylan Dingler's in MVP conversations. Of course, they've had great seasons.
Yeah.
That's what, there is a privilege of having this sort of pressure and expectation on you.
That's the saying, yeah.
And Kevin McGonigal and Dylan Dingler fit that bill now. Congratulations, those 2. They're good enough to really feel it from the fans when they don't perform. And this weekend, the Tigers and Tigers fans desperately needed those 2 guys to show up, and they were nowhere to be found. I to be fair, can't remember the last time a rookie has had this much expectation and pressure on him in terms of like, hey, man, we need you to perform. That's where the Tigers are right now. If you don't want to do it, Riley Green's going to be here, and you're going to dump on him. We got to do it with McGonigal, too. I've been a Riley Green defender for a long time. Guess what? That guy's injured right now when the Tigers need him the most. That's not a good look for his sake either. All 3 of these guys did not contribute to the Tigers this weekend, and that's why they lost. That part of it's really unfortunate and a tough pill to swallow for a fan. That the guys whose jerseys you are buying, those guys let you down this weekend in the biggest series that the Tigers have had up to this date. They're going to have a chance to bounce back against the White Sox. First, they got Pittsburgh, then they got Kansas City. 2 very winnable series here over the next 6 games. They're going to need to make up some ground, though, because you let a bunch of teams pass you in the wild card by getting swept this weekend. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Myth. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Protect your home with Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking a little tired, Bresky is you covered, locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come. Quick shout out to Iron Stack Technology. We talk about the game plan all the time on the show, the execution of it. That's exactly how Iron Stack approaches IT. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next, so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. That's Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. Check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Nine 837-6125. Jer texting in saying the pressure was on in the hitting while they couldn't take it. Makes me pause for a moment and think I'm not sure if this team is actually built to make the playoffs. Yeah, that's kind of the question I want to tackle here. Who are the Detroit Tigers? Because we've kind of brought this up in terms of a ownership standpoint, a general management standpoint. What is this team's identity? And right now, with a little bit over a month to go, a month and a half, it feels like I'm asking myself that question more so than I have at any point this season. Who is this team? And that's not really a great thing to be asking yourself with a month and a half left when you're a team that's contending to make the playoff spot as a wild card. But, look around. Whether it's McGonigal and Dingler, who are unproven playoff guys, Riley Green, who's absent right now on the IL. Well, who is this team? Because for 2.5 months, they were the hottest offense in the league. They were the best pitching staff in the league. Yet when it mattered most against the White Sox, offense wasn't really there, at least from their star players. And the pitching staff gave up 20 total runs over the weekend. In the high leverage games, it makes me wonder, what version of this team is there? And every time you think you figure that out with this Tigers team over the past 3 years, they turn into a different version of themselves. It's kind of been a tale of two halves for 3 consecutive seasons. To the point where, I don't think anybody really is exactly sure what this team's identity is or what they're even striving to be right now.
I mean, they were just completely outplayed by the White Sox. It wasn't like a fluky Cleveland Guardians style series sweep, where
not at all.
How did we lose all these games? How did they put together these runs? The White Sox were way better on offense. They were stringing together hits like no other against Troy Melton on Saturday, against Jackson Jobe, who Andy Dirks mentioned maybe he was tipping his pitches a little bit. And then yesterday they had the comeback win too. Like the Tigers had the lead for a good chunk of the game, and then they came back and won. And the Tigers' hitting was not nearly on par with the White Sox. So yeah, they were just outplayed in every category, which is concerning coming from a team in the White Sox that we've talked about. We don't fully trust them to win the division. Well, if they are going to win the division, then it's about making the wild card. And yeah, a lot of the Tigers' flaws were put on display this weekend, and we knew they existed, but they were just kind of brought back into our brains. Mm-hmm. It's like the girl that you can't really be with, but you're just blinded to all of the red flags about her, but you're like, you know what? I don't see any of it. Things are going so great. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. It takes a series sweep to be like, wait, that's why we won 6 games in May.
Yeah.
That's, oh, shoot. Okay, yeah, there is some major red flags about this team.
Yeah, you can't just be the honeymoon phase
exactly.
Forever.
The 2-month stretch that went so well, boom, just like that. You realize these are the reasons why the Tigers are 4 games below 500 at this point. I don't know about you, but we got through that Cleveland series, and I kind of was just
invincible.
I was just kind of like, man, the Tigers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I felt like the Tigers were invincible, could do no wrong. This team can win the American League. And just as I think that the White Sox 1-2-3 combo just put these dreams, I don't want to say to bed, but they certainly tucked them in. And we're starting to try to read them a bedtime story. Go to bed, Tigers fans. This isn't built for you. And I'm not totally convinced that this team's done and they're not going to make the playoffs. There's still 36 or so games left. But it was a really tough reality check and pill to swallow of oh yeah, there's some teams in the American League that the Tigers maybe still can't compete with.
In their own division. That's the part that sucks.
Well, it's funny too because where were the Tigers? Why did the Tigers lose last year in the playoffs? Why did everything run dry? Well, their star players didn't show up in
their
the biggest moments.
Sucked. I think their offense sucked. That would be the number one reason.
Yeah, their offense stunk and their best players didn't show up in the biggest moments. And it's okay, are they really that much different this year right now?
It's just different best players now.
Yeah, instead of Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter, it's...
And Riley Green.
And now it's just Riley Green, Kevin McGonigal, and Dylan Dingler. And I think if all those guys are healthy, maybe that makes a difference and you have a little bit more depth in your lineup come, a playoff spot or a playoff series. Or, if Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter were healthy, that might have made a difference too. But right now, they kind of do find themselves in that exact same situation that they were in last year in the playoffs where, hey, the top guys in your lineup didn't perform very well. Guess what? You lost. And that's kind of what it felt like all 3 games this weekend. In addition to the pitching staff not being very well, which that was maybe the biggest change up from what has been going on over the past month or so. Job got lit up. It wasn't Melton's best outing. And then pretty much everybody who came into the game yesterday, it felt like.
Bullpen, yeah. I mean, Tyler Holton just gets mashed, yeah. Chris chiming in the YouTube chat, he says, streaky and average, that's the Tigers' identity.
Streaky and average, that's the Tigers' identity.
The thing is, their streaks are long, though.
I know.
Like, they're not your typical streaky team. They've been on
like 3 months.
Yeah, they've been on a 2-month streak of being good, and they were on a month streak of being terrible in May. So it's hard to describe them as streaky because they put together such a large sample size of being a pretty good team. Like you had always brought up, they're number 1 in runs and number 1 in ERA since June 1st.
That's 2.5 months.
That's not a streak. And that's, I would argue the two most important things in baseball, scoring runs and not giving them up. And they were the best at both of those things for 2 months straight. That doesn't seem like streaky to me, but then you do have series like this weekend where we are reminded how streaky that they are. Luke says, Dingler fading away has been unreal. He must have gotten word he was in the MVP race or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the shortest MVP run of all time.
The suddenness of it. I mean, it was not this past Friday, but a week before that where we, for the first time, were like, hey, Dylan Dingler kind of belongs in MVP conversations. He has 2 hits since that moment.
Yeah, literally since that day. It's the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets first season run of MVP runs.
Him coming out with the flag.
Lasted 2 snaps.
Got a text that says the one thing that needed to stay strong for the Tigers was the pitching, and that let us down more than anything over the weekend. Yeah, the Jackson Jobe stuff, whether or not he was tipping his pitches on Friday, I guess I don't know. I know Dirks brought it up, and maybe it was happening, maybe it wasn't. Either way, it was just such like really talking myself into Jackson Jobe being this like superstar. Picks up right where he left off.
Are you saying he can't now?
I'm not saying he can't be a superstar, but I did feel like maybe Jackson Jobe hits the ground sprinting. And that first start, he definitely hit the ground jogging. And I was like, maybe this just doesn't slow down. And similar to Troy Melton, he just joins the team and is awesome right from the jump. And that didn't end up happening in his second start. Kind of got lit up a little bit. The pitching ultimately did let the Tigers down this weekend. There's not a lot of series you'll win if you give up 20 runs at the end of the day.
Right.
Got a text that says, guess we should have chose Dingler to heat up last week if we were doing, the heat up. Remember the heat up segment we were doing?
Yeah, I picked Dingler too.
He did choose Dingler.
And I was wrong, yeah.
The reason I didn't pick Dingler was because I didn't think a slump like this was possible. Like,
true.
Dylan Dingler's not going to have
go
on this crazy slump. And, of course, the second we say that and he gets into these MVP conversations, biggest slump of the season for him.
I mean, he's had some off series, but he certainly has not had anything close to this. And I brought this up to Ben yesterday. Like, this is a little eerily similar to last season when Riley Green, if you recall, Riley Green had 2 major slumps last year. One of them was at the beginning of the year. Remember, at the start of the season, we were just like, Riley Green stinks now.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up being pretty good. And then he went through a huge slump in the back half of the season, and it just happened to coincide with the Tigers' terrible losing streak and blowing the division, and Riley Green was really bad for a large sample. This just has that vibe. I'm certainly not speaking that into existence because that would be brutal for the Tigers, but it's similar to the fact that, as soon as Riley Green starts really underperforming, the Tigers as a team start underperforming. And Dylan Dingler, as mentioned, when he is playing very poorly, and especially in these last few games, the Tigers as a team do as well. I just hope it's not the same scenario as last season.
Yeah, this whole cold streak, it's basically got to end right now.
Yeah.
Because if this is going to continue, the Tigers are going to fall out of a playoff race before. It's going to happen too fast, and you're going to blink, and all of a sudden it's going to be out of the realm of possibilities to go grab it again.
This isn't like last year where they could afford to somehow, lose as many games as they did, and Riley Green could be as bad as he was, and they still got in. You can't. You actually need the opposite now.
If what just happened with Dylan Dingler happens again, and you double these past 6 games, he has another 6 games like that, the season could very well be over.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to snap out of it today. It has to happen now.
And he had some nice contact the last couple days.
Yeah, he had the double at the end of the RBI double, which hopefully that gets him out of it because it was the first time it was finally. It's like when you finally see a shot go in when you're just missing so many shots.
And he had a hard hit ball that got caught by the shortstop on Saturday too. But it's really the 3 games against Cleveland and then that first game against the White Sox on Friday where it was like, geez, man. Like, is this seriously how this entire stretch is going to go?
Did I actually utter those 3 letters when watching this guy play?
MVP. 989-837-6125. Locally owned and proudly family operated Ace Hardware in downtown Midland is your go-to spot as we are in the midst of summer. Stop in on East Main Street in the heart of downtown Midland. That's Ace Hardware, helping you get ready for the season ahead while supporting your community.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. This Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
(989-837-6125). That's the number to Mint messages. It's 9:30, so let's get up to date on all that happened over the weekend. Kyle, take it away with the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Okay, Ben, not just stuff that's happening over the weekend, because we've got a little bit of breaking news this morning. Nothing utterly breaking, but Michigan State has hired their new athletic director. Obviously, Jay Batt had been departed. President Kevin Guskowitz came back to MSU, so he was in charge of hiring the new AD, and it's a guy in state. It's the Western Michigan athletic director.
Oh, really?
Dan, I'm going to really struggle to say this guy's name. I apologize. Dan Bartholomew, maybe. He's finalizing a deal to become the next athletic director at Michigan State. He's led Western Michigan to a national title in hockey, and the school is coming off of a MAC title in football. Obviously, CMU guys here. But from all the MAC people I know, this was rumored this weekend, by the way, so I think this was kind of expected to come at some point this week, but it was heavily rumored this weekend. All the MAC people talk Dan up pretty highly. So, Western is a powerhouse at least in the MAC in football at this point, and winning a national title in hockey is great. So, yeah, it's obviously probably not going to be as much as a home run hire as Jay Batt was. There's a reason why Jay Batt has already moved on to his next job because of how much of a stud he seems to be. But everyone seems to think that this is a fine hire for the Spartans.
Yeah, fine hire. He's got some tall tasks.
Of course.
Obviously, with the state of that football program and the over-under on their season being a 3.5 right now. Look, man, he's got a tall task ahead of him. And MSU desperately needs someone to come help them and save the situation that they've fallen into. Hopefully, this is not someone who's just looking to jump up and get to a bigger school immediately. Coming from the MAC, though, I do think that, going after guys like Jay Batt are good until other opportunities arise and they want to go back to the SEC or wherever they end up, or to the ACC or another Power 5. If you're going to hire someone from a Group of 5 conference, maybe that's all they want. They're not chasing SEC.
Yeah, they want the guy
dreams.
that's going to stay there for a while. And it's an in-state guy, too, you know? I think that plays as well.
Maybe. I guess I'm less convinced of whether or not that matters.
But to your point of not wanting to leave and go elsewhere.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, you are right about that. So hopefully you have someone who's going to be a little sticky to this situation, because it feels like Michigan State hasn't been able to get anyone to stay in any role in their athletic department for quite some time.
Yeah. So we'll see. Speaking of college football, we have the first AP poll that will drop today at noon. Very excited to see that. There obviously is already rankings out right now, but they're just I think it's
coaches
the coaches.
Rankings.
Yeah, we'll get the actual media AP poll today. That will be the one that will have the real, this team is that and this. It'll probably be pretty similar to the coaches ranking, but still, it's always fun because you look at some of the teams last year, what their preseason ranking was. Penn State was ranked number 2 at the first AP poll last year. Number 2. Team lost to UCLA last year, remember? Clemson was ranked number 4. They were really bad. LSU was ranked number 9. There was so many teams, 3 teams inside the top 10 that just were not very good teams last year. We're ranked inside the top 10 to start the season. So
if I was the sports czar or in charge of college football, I would have no rankings until after week 1. Or honestly,
you got to have some sort of rankings going into week 1.
Why?
So you could say, top X matchup. The number 20th ranked team here is playing this team.
I just think there's such a danger, and you're right, the networks would be no, we want to put a number next to every single one of these teams. But I think there's such a danger in one publication, AP, they said this team's number 2. Now they could go 1-3 and they're still going to be 24. It's no, go earn one singular win.
Yeah.
And then
it's
let's
when Notre
ranking.
Dame starts off the season 0-2 and yet they're still ranked.
Yeah, it's let's. If I was in charge, and I know this would never happen, I would do no rankings until after week 1. And after week 1, you can start to piece together this team had a really strong game, and also we thought this of them going into the season, so we can put out an initial ranking. And then teams that lose don't have the ability to be ranked this team's just probably not going to be
right.
the highest ranked team in all of college football.
We'll see.
What's the best week 1 matchups that we do have?
There really isn't any good week 1 ones. Week 2 has plenty of pretty good matchups.
There's 3 Big Ten SEC matchups week 2, I think.
Yeah. Week 1, obviously, you gotta be careful because there's the week 0 that technically is thrown into week 1. As far as the actual week 1 matchups go, there's really none. There's no huge ones. I'm still looking here.
What, Bama, East Carolina doesn't
Boston
get you fired
College,
up?
Cincinnati. That's the first real matchup.
See, this is why
Big 12 ACC.
This is why football doesn't actually count as back until the NFL rolls around.
Boise State, Oregon. I mean, that's not terrible. It's not great. I mean, Oregon's 25-point favorites, so I guess it is kind of terrible.
This is why
what's the prime time game? There's got to be a late game.
Clemson LSU.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say there's got to be one. Yeah. Okay, Clemson LSU.
Dabo Swinney, I think he's kind of a loser. One thing you cannot discredit him for is he is not afraid to schedule some tough non-cons.
They play LSU or Georgia essentially every year, so.
And usually they lose.
Yeah, that's why LSU is 9.5-point favorites. Man, Kiffin versus Swinney, is that craziest coaching matchup of the season?
One of them.
It's got to be. I can't really think of any crazier guys. Okay, let's look at the Covenant Healthcare Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Injury Report. Active coaches. James Outman, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, outfielders all remain on the injured list for the Tigers. So yesterday, the Tigers decided to call up Brett Callahan to make his debut. Trey Cruz was designated for assignment. A lot of speculation, assuming that this means that Riley, Kerry, Outman all aren't very close to returning, because why would they call up Callahan, who is a legit prospect of the Tigers, a top 20 guy in their org? He had a triple in his debut yesterday. He was playing in West Michigan. That's the high A affiliate of the Tigers a year ago at this point. So he has shot his way up through AA and AAA with how good he's been. And he was pretty good yesterday in his debut for the Tigers. But this could be unfortunate news that maybe he's going to be here for a while, because all of Kerry, Riley, and I'm just going to throw Outman into that group because he's on the IL, will not be returning in the near future, aka this week. Who knows, though?
They're going to need these guys sooner rather than later, though. This can't be a thing that's going to last, because if Carpenter and Green are both going to be out for another, I don't know, week or so, it could get really scary really fast in terms of how far back you fall down these standings if Dingler can't pull his head out of his butt. Dingler needs some help here. You got to protect Dingler in this lineup, because the other thing is, it'd be great to give Dingler an off day just to have him reset. You can't really afford to do it right now with Green and Carpenter both out. You lose a lot of the power in your lineup. This upcoming, week, 10 days, it's become the most important stretch. I mean, every 10-game stretch the rest of the way will be considered the most important stretch of the season, but right now the Tigers truly cannot afford to take any more steps backwards.
No, I mean, they have to, out of the 6 games against Pittsburgh and Kansas City, how many do they have to take to feel really comfortable?
Next 6 games?
Yeah, against 2 bad teams. I mean, the Pirates aren't that bad, but...
I mean, ideally, you're taking 4.
I mean, you have to take 4.
Yeah.
I would say 5, but out of respect for Jaden Daniels, I'll keep it at 4.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Okay, a couple more things here in the news, and we'll save the rest for later. You mentioned Tarek Skubal. We're so worried about Skubal. Oh, this and that. Well, did you see, Ben? Tarek Skubal threw a career-high 109 pitches yesterday for the Dodgers. It was in a loss to the Brewers. It was only through 6 innings as well. The Brewers take that series with the Dodgers, and in hand, they take the overall best record in baseball.
Oh, those National League teams just boat racing everybody.
Yeah.
It's a different competition out there right now. It
really is. As far as the standings go, yeah, the Brewers are the number 1 team in baseball. Dodgers, Braves are tied at 74 wins, but they each have a large lead in their division. All those divisions are essentially wrapped up in the National League as far as who's going to win it. Tampa, Chicago, Houston remain your leaders. As far as the wild card goes, the Tigers are now behind the Orioles, Rangers, and Blue Jays. That's the teams they're fighting with in that final spot. They're 1 game back of the Orioles, as well as the Twins and Guardians, all still in the mix. And I guess Seattle, too. Seattle's only 2.5 games back, so I'll throw them in the mix. So you've got 7 teams all fighting for a single spot. That's why the Tigers' playoff percentage has dropped so low. In the National League, San Diego Padres holding on to that final wild card spot, with the Diamondbacks and Marlins, as well as the Cardinals, kind of hanging around as well for that final spot. We'll close the news with an update on the MLB awards as well, because Dylan Dingler's MVP odds, they finally have been updated, Ben. Yeah, they've doubled. He went from plus 3,500 going into the weekend to plus 7,000 to win the MVP now.
Yeah, probably rightfully so.
Yeah, he's been passed by Ben Rice once again. As far as the National League MVP, Shohei Ohtani has that lead back. He's minus 140. Pete Crow Armstrong at plus 115. Despite the underperformance from Kevin McGonigal and the big-time series from Munetaka Murakami, those odds have not been shifted. In a head-to-head series as well, McGonigal's still your heavy favorite at minus 450 to win the American League Rookie of the Year. Your Cy Young still is going to be Jacob Mizorowski in the National League. But toss-up in the American League between Cam Schlittler and Dylan Cease. Did they add Melton to it yet? Nope. Just didn't know. Who knows?
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Obviously, it's golf season. I don't know how much golf we have left in us. 2 months? 3 months if we're lucky?
I mean, most people will say golf goes into October, but for the football fans out there,
Kind of tough.
it kind of ends pretty early.
Okay, so 3 months max. It's time to get in your last few rounds of the summer. And if you're like me, you're still looking for new places to play. Golfers, look no further. Apple Mountain in Freeland, where every round comes with a side of scenic perfection. Championship-level course, beautifully maintained, and just the right mix of challenge and fun. When you've wrapped up 18, head to the Apple Mountain Restaurant, the perfect place for casual elegance and spectacular views. Whether you're playing for score or just soaking up the atmosphere, Apple Mountain is your place to unwind, recharge, and enjoy the game. Apple Mountain in Freeland, minutes away, but miles from ordinary. Winners and whiners when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. We have to do it. We have to do it. Here's Winners and Whiners.
It's time for Winners and Whiners.
Winner, chicken dinner.
We haven't done this in quite some time because there hasn't been someone worthy of being a part of Winners and Whiners in quite some time. We're not going to pass up the opportunity to come jump on the Jaden Daniels make fun of him bandwagon, because what has transpired over the weekend with Jaden Daniels, and really it started, I think, Thursday evening, maybe Friday morning. Jaden Daniels just has to be the biggest whiner that we have right now. For those who don't know, him and his camp, which is his mom's his manager, who he still gives piggyback rides at training camp, is suing the University of LSU, Louisiana State University, because they have already given his number to someone else, and he doesn't think he's being treated the same way that Joe Burrow was being treated. Even though Joe Burrow had an undefeated national championship season, and Jaden Daniels led LSU to a 9-win season. Yes, both won the Heisman. Obviously an incredible accomplishment. But to sue your own university because you don't think you're being respected enough? It just doesn't send a good message, man. Now all of a sudden it's like, I don't know if I want to do business with Jaden Daniels, because if I'm not like on my hands and knees glazing him, then all of a sudden he's going to get mad at us. I just don't think this is a good public image for Jaden Daniels, whose team is coming off of a 5-win season last year with Washington. It feels like his mom has gone a little power hungry here.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough one because it's like, is Jaden Daniels the real whiner here, or is it just them as a whole? Is it him and his mom? Because the weird part is, Burrow's number is not retired either. It just has not been given out. No one has rocked number 9 since Burrow left LSU. And it was the case for Daniels as well. No one had rocked number 5 until they gave it to a sophomore cornerback for this season.
You know what my first reaction to that would be too? Sue the university. That would be my first thought.
Well, I was going to say it'd be a little different if it was like giving out how they do the number 7 tradition at LSU. They always kind of give that to just like the best player on the team. Number 7 is a lot of like legends at LSU have rocked the number 7.
Yeah, leaders. Yeah.
And so it'd be different if that was the case, but it seems like it feels like a sign of disrespect, which it kind of is. Like, I do disagree. I would feel a little bit like, really? Like, you're giving out my number to a sophomore corner? Like, I won the Heisman, Like, I would be a little disrespected. But to go far as suing the university that you attended, I mean, come on. Now, that is, if there is not a more 2026 thing than that, the university that I went to, but actually it was the second university that I went to, so I don't have enough ties to it where I feel bad to sue them. No, I'll sue them. They can't use my name, image, or likeness. They can't have, think about this. If a guy wins the Heisman, we were talking about this yesterday, LSU's got 3 Heismans, I think, in their franchise, or in their school's history. They have a very few amount. That guy's going to be plastered over everything.
Not
the
anymore.
Heisman Trophy is going to be there. Like, they're going to have all of that stuff in their football facility. Jaden Daniels is everywhere because he won the Heisman.
It's like, look at this is Jaden Heisman. This is our Hall of Fame, and this is Jaden Heisman, and he's actively suing the University of LSU.
Yeah, the great look for recruits, huh?
Correct.
Now, obviously, nowadays it's just more about money than anything, but still, this is a big time from Jaden Daniels, and he has gotten the proper clown fest over the weekend, by the way. I mean, everybody is hopping on the Jaden Daniels use of the number 5. It's like the new 9. Like, shout out to J.J. McCarthy. Maybe he's a winner here because there's a new number meme with a football player.
You know who the biggest loser of all of this is? Is the Washington Commanders front office, who now is like, has their hands on their cheeks, like has their face buried in their hands. Like, what are these negotiations process about to be like with Jaden Daniels' mother, who felt like slightly betrayed by a school and decided to sue them? What's worse? A front office having to deal with a player manager, a guy who doesn't have an agent like Lamar Jackson, or having to deal with a player's agent who happens to be his mom? What's worse? What would be a harder deal to negotiate? One-on-one with the player or one-on-one with the player's mom?
I think the mom, like, there's a world where it's fine.
There's also a world where it's
like
impossible.
Yeah, exactly. The funniest clip ever, I just actually re-saw this morning because it was all the Jaden Daniels stuff that has, been just coming around. Remember when Jaden Daniels and Juju Watkins, I can't remember what game they were at. They were together at a game.
I think it was a men's basketball game.
Yeah, they were together at a game, and they were, like, sitting together, and they cut back from the break, and they showed Jaden Daniels again, and Daniels' mom is sitting between them.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he can't even talk to Juju Watkins, man. This is crazy. Yeah, probably dealing with the mom is worse than dealing with the solo guy.
In the quarterback series that Netflix has had this is their third season of it, maybe? Second or third season of it? They had the wide receiver season as well. They prop up Jaden Daniels' mom to be like a hero. Like, oh, look at this strong woman. Look at this amazing human being. They've done such a great job raising Jaden Daniels.
I mean,
has that shifted.
I mean, they have, though. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a quarterback in the NFL. Like, that's...
I know, but I'm not like discrediting her ability to be a mother, but she's become too much of a character.
Right, for sure.
With all of this.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling it's about to become like a soccer mom where it's like, yeah, it's now their show that they're running on behalf of their children as just the face of it.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, if I'm the Commanders, I'm almost like, this is going to be a headache dealing with this woman and her representation of her son.
Typically, when you know the athlete's parents and they're not like already a celebrity or like a former player or anything, that's not a good thing. It's usually not like when the LeVar Balls of the world,
Mahomes' father.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of good things typically unless they're already a celebrity type of person that can come from that.
Yeah, usually you want athletes' parents to be like super low key,
like,
quiet. You don't want to hear from them at all.
You're like, oh, that's what his parents look like.
Yeah, if you know exactly who it is.
Daniel's mom.
Yeah. Hey, Jaden Daniels, just quick piece of advice. I would maybe start to have your mom be your mom and have a manager be a manager. Maybe a manager mom, not the greatest move. All right, that's Winners and Whiners. We'll get to a couple winners later on in the show. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid, 10 o'clock hour, and the Lions when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.